Would you like to know if your soil is alive or not? If it's healthy or unhealthy? In this video, we are going to talk about a soil analysis that is revolutionizing farming all over the world. The only one that can reveal whether your soil is truly alive or not. You won't hear much about this soil analysis from the big agricultural companies, and even most professional agronomic advisors prefer to keep it hidden from farmers. It's called soil chromatography. It shows you how your soil is functioning as a living system, whether it breathes well, whether it cycles nutrients properly, whether organic matter is being built or burned, whether microbial life is active or struggling, whether the soil's internal processes are moving toward regeneration or degradation. Hi there, my name is Ariel Rodriguez. I'm an agricultural science professional living in Adelaide, South Australia. And first of all, I would like to say this channel is completely independent. Our only goal is to share real, practical information that helps you restore the natural fertility of your soil without failing in the process. It means without sacrificing yield. Doing so will help us dramatically reduce the production costs and increase the value of your property. So, if you care about the health of your land, stay with us until the end, because what you are about to discover could change the way you see your soil. You won't hear much about this soil analysis from the big agricultural companies, and even most professional agronomic advisors prefer to keep it hidden from farmers or even discredit it completely. Why? Because this analysis is already changing the way agriculture is being done all over the world. It challenges the business model that keeps producers dependent on external inputs and gives real knowledge and power back to the farmers. And for many, that's bad news, because this kind of analysis exposes in a very simple way the real health status of the soil, and that represents a serious threat to their business. Many soils specialists agree on one thing: every farmer should perform this analysis. Don't stay out of this change. Share this video with others who could benefit from learning about it. Before we can understand this soil analysis, the one we'll be talking about in this and many other videos, we first need to talk about what soil fertility actually is. This concept might sound very obvious, but believe it or not, there is a lot of confusion around it. And that's not by accident. We've been misinformed and even taught the wrong ideas on purpose. We stay confused and dependent on solutions that, instead of solving our problems, have only made them worse. From the point of view of conventional agriculture, that is, the type of agriculture that emerged from the Green Revolution to the present day, the concept of soil fertility has been understood in a very narrow way. Basically, as fertile soil was considered to be one that contained a certain amount of mineral nutrients available to plants. For example, phosphorus, potassium, calcium, magnesium, and so on. Under this view, soil is seen as nothing more than an inert chemical reservoir where roots merely absorb mineral elements. This reductionist mindset turned living soils into mere chemistry labs, replacing the complexity of biological life with industrial inputs, and in the process disconnecting us from the true essence of fertility. In the short term, these chemical substances, called fertilizers, can increase yields, but they do so at the expense of the soil's biological capital. Why do we say they do so at the expense of the soil's biological capital? Because soluble salts and excess nitrates suppress certain microbial groups while overstimulating others, creating an imbalance that would never occur under natural conditions. Although a healthy soil is resilient and can eventually regain its equilibrium, the continuous use of these substances and the imbalance they generate can lead to long-term instability and a gradual decline in soil health. They also increase salinity and modify the pH. When we apply soluble chemical fertilizers, we introduce a large amounts of salts into the soil. As salinity rises, so does the osmotic pressure around plant roots, forcing the plant to use more energy just to absorb water. In severe cases, the flow can even reverse. Water moves out of the root, causing dehydration. Soil microorganisms experience the same osmotic stress. They lose water, their metabolism slows down, and many of them eventually die. In addition, many nitrogen-based fertilizers modify soil pH through chemical reaction. Some of them acidify the soil, while others make the root zone more alkaline depending on their composition. Microorganisms like nitrifying bacteria, phosphate solubilizing bacteria, and mycorrhizal fungi are extremely sensitive to sudden changes in salinity and pH. As a result, microbial diversity declines, soil health deteriorates, and the soil becomes increasingly dependent on chemical inputs to sustain plant growth. Fertilizers also reduce the physiological need for symbiosis. When a plant receives an excess of soluble nutrients, it breaks its natural alliances with soil microorganisms. It no longer releases root exudates that feed soil microorganisms because it no longer depends on them, and that dissolves the biological relationships that keep the soil alive, since those exudates are essential for soil health. We already covered this topic in another video. I leave the link here and also at the end of this chapter so you can check it out. As examples of these symbiotic relationships, we can briefly mention nitrogen-fixing bacteria and mycorrhizal fungi. Synthetic fertilizers also speed up the decomposition of organic matter, releasing carbon dioxide and leaving the soil with less and less stable carbon. These fertilizers provide a quick source of nitrogen and other minerals that temporarily stimulate certain microbial groups at the expense of others, but without adding new carbon. This drives microorganisms to seek energy by oxidizing the existing organic matter, humus, to sustain their metabolism. In other words, microbes consume the soil's structural carbon because they have no other energy source. Put simply, the soil breathes more intensely, but its stable carbon reserves are depleted. Therefore, the boost in production seen after applying chemical fertilizers is not the creation of fertility, but the consumption of existing capital. It's like spending your savings. With every harvest, the soil becomes poorer, less resilient, and more dependent on external inputs. In other words, sicker. Under the conventional agricultural view, the concept of fertility has been reduced to something simplistic, attempting to oversimplify an extremely complex reality. But process in nature happens simultaneously. Nothing operates in isolation. It's a dynamic equilibrium between the physical, chemical, and biological components, these ones known as the three phases or pillars of soil fertility. We can therefore say that true fertility, the natural fertility, the one capable of sustaining life, goes far beyond chemistry. Natural soil fertility is the ability of a living soil to generate, sustain, and nourish not only life, but biodiversity. Thus, we can say that a fertile soil is the one where energy in the form of matter maintains a constant flow between these three phases: physical, chemical, and biological. In other words, it is a permanent state of transformation. For this to happen, a series of processes must occur in dynamic equilibrium, similar to a metabolism, which is why we can affirm that the soil is a living organism. It breathes, it feeds, it regenerates, or it gets sick and dies. Now, once we understand what true fertility really is, we can finally introduce the soil analysis that brings all of this together. It's called soil chromatography. It shows you how your soil is functioning as a living system, whether it breathes well, whether it cycles nutrients properly, whether organic matter is being built or burned, whether microbial life is active or struggling, whether the soil's internal processes are moving toward regeneration or degradation. And most importantly, it empowers you to make decisions based on how the soil is truly functioning, not on guesswork or on recommendations disconnected from your reality. This is why many specialists refer to it as a silent revolution in agriculture, because it gives the producer something that modern agriculture took away for decades: the ability to understand the land in depth and to regenerate it intentionally. We can therefore say that everything we've discussed so far converges in a single analysis. It can be applied to any soil, in any climate, crop or management system. Absolutely any soil. In the next videos, we'll talk more about this technique. Congratulations on making it to the end of this video. That means you truly care about regeneration and create a positive impact in the world. Please share this video with others, because together we can make the difference. I'll see you in the next video.